Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in and checking out the video. Now, this video is going to be talking about the fight going down at Minute Maid Park, which should be fireworks for the fans in attendance and watching live throughout the world between James Kirkland versus Canelo Alvarez. Now, this fight is going to be, I think, very good as long as it lasts. When I look at both of the fighters, let me first start off with Canelo Alvarez. So Canelo Alvarez, in my opinion, is a boxer puncher, and he's a guy who's been in there with some excellent competition. Now, if you look back at his resume, you'll remember certain fights he was not supposed to take. I remember when Austin Trout was coming up and he beat Miguel Cotto. They said Canelo Alvarez would not fight Austin Trout. Well, he did fight Austin Trout. Then they said there's no way he would take on Erislandy Lara, and he did so. So I respect Canelo Alvarez in that regard. I think Canelo Alvarez legitimately wants to fight the best fighters around, and that's something that I admire in him personally. Now, when I look at some of the skills that Alvarez possesses, I see a guy who is extremely composed throughout his fights. He never gets too overconfident. Nothing really rattles him, and that's something that I respect about Alvarez, and I think that's something that can go a long way for him in the future. Canelo is a guy who has a nice right hook. I like his right hand in general. He is a guy who is a combination puncher. He will mix it up. Um, he can also do a bit of countering every now and again. So this is a guy who does have some boxing skill. A lot of people point out to some of the flaws in Canelo Alvarez, his head movement and his footwork. Definitely, those are some issues in his game. But this fight against James Kirkland, I don't think you need to worry about those flaws if you're Canelo Alvarez, because James Kirkland is a different type of fighter than Austin Trout and Lara and Floyd Mayweather, just some previous opponents that Canelo Alvarez has faced. Now, when I look at James Kirkland, and I think of some of the things that he does well, James Kirkland, very exciting, explosive type of fighter. Kirkland is a very big puncher, and when you watch his fights, he sets a pace on opponents that they cannot keep up with. And he is a guy mentally very tough, but there's an issue with that for this fight. James Kirkland is without Ann Wolfe, and I think this is a very big mistake on his part for the biggest fight of his life to not have his trainer Ann Wolfe in the corner. And Ann Wolfe is excellent, and she brings out the dog in James Kirkland. So this is something that you got to watch for in the fight. His new trainer is actually a local San Antonio trainer. I think his name is Rick Morones. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but very unknown in the boxing world. Although his strength and conditioning coach, who we recently hired, also works with the San Antonio Spurs. So, be interesting to see how James Kirkland looks in this fight from a tactical point of view, also in the strength and conditioning program that has been instilled in him. Are we going to see the James Kirkland who's always in shape with Ann Wolfe? Or are we going to see James Kirkland from previous fights past? So that's something interesting to look for in this fight. Now, some advantages that I have to give both of these fighters in this matchup. Let's start off with James Kirkland. I think that Canelo holds a lot of the advantages in this fight, but I believe that James Kirkland holds the advantage in having more power than Canelo Alvarez, in my opinion. I also believe that James Kirkland has better conditioning than Canelo Alvarez does, and he can set up a better pace. Now, other advantages that Canelo Alvarez has over James Kirkland, in my opinion, I believe Canelo Alvarez is a more technical boxer than James Kirkland. I believe Canelo Alvarez has a better hand speed. He has a better defense, better chin, and he's faced better opposition in his career, and also he has been more active. James Kirkland has not fought in a while, and that's something that we've seen throughout the career of James Kirkland. He's been inactive. He's had issues. You remember he sued Ann Wolfe and company years ago. So there's always something going on in the career of James Kirkland, and I think that's holding back his career, in my opinion. But very exciting, fun guy to watch. When you have James Kirkland hurt, he comes back firing on all cylinders. So if that happens in this fight and Canelo doesn't take him out, should be interesting. My opinion, though, for the fight, guys, I think that Canelo Alvarez is too versatile for James Kirkland, and I believe that Canelo Alvarez wins this fight by a 6th-round stoppage, in my opinion. I just think Canelo has too many weapons. And I also think that he will easily be able to hit James Kirkland, whose defense is not that good. But it's going to be interesting to see because James Kirkland definitely has the power to hurt Canelo. And it should be a war, and it should be a highly entertaining fight for as long as it lasts. So thank you very much, guys, for tuning into the video. Let me know who you guys got in this fight, and give me your prediction. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Appreciate it.